Let us talk about International Criminal Court. Crimes that time has forgotten, but we haven't. In order to fight against impunity for the most serious crimes, states created the International Criminal Court. The ICC, a permanent independent court currently supported by more than 120 states parties, so when crimes of serious concern to the international community occur, the ICC can step in as a court of last resort under specific legal conditions. Victims deserve justice and peace requires justice. The ICC is then a last resort and a last hope for victims to find justice. But first let's talk about how does the ICC work and when can ICC investigations start and what are the steps to justice in the ICC process. Investigations can be initiated in 3 different ways. The United Nations Security Council can request the prosecutor to launch an investigation. The Office of the Prosecutor may initiate investigations on its own initiative proprio motu on the basis of information received from reliable sources. Before opening an investigation, the ICC's Office of the Prosecutor needs to look at the alleged crimes and check if the court has jurisdiction, meaning if it is believed that war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide or the crime of aggression have been committed, then to analyze when, where and by whom the crimes were committed. As a general rule, the ICC cannot investigate what happened before it was created. 1 July 2002 and for states who join after that date unless they wish so. The ICC cannot investigate what happened before they became party to the ICC founding treaty, the Rome Statute. In addition, the crimes must have been committed in the territory of a state party to the Rome Statute or by a national of such state. If this criterion is not met, investigations can start in 2 other ways. First, a non-state party can lodge a declaration accepting the jurisdiction of the court, or second, the United Nations Security Council can refer a situation to the court for violence that threatens the peace and security of the entire world. The Office of the Prosecutor will also have to verify other elements. Since the ICC is a court of last resort, there is also a need to first check if national courts and tribunals are conducting serious investigations or are unwilling or incapable to do so. So this is because the ICC does not replace national courts but complements them. States bear the primary responsibility to investigate and prosecute these crimes. Second, the ICC's involvement should be reserved only for the most serious crimes, so it is important to evaluate the level of gravity of the crimes. This is defined by using both qualitative and quantitative criteria by assessing the nature, scale, manner of commission and impact of those crimes. Finally, the prosecutor will also consider whether or not starting an investigation serves the interests of the victims and the interests of justice. The prosecutor's work to analyze and answer all these questions might take some time. Based on its result, the prosecutor may decide not to investigate if it is decided to open investigations without having a prior request of a state party or the UN Security Council. The authorization of the judges is still required. Investigations might be lengthy and complex, whether traveling to the crime's location or working from other areas. An ICC investigator interviews witnesses and also collects documents, records videos and other types of reliable evidence. This work might require consulting experts in forensics, ballistics and other areas to gather and analyze the evidence. After collecting enough evidence to build a case, the prosecutor may ask the judges to issue arrest warrants or summonses to appear. The judges of the pre-trial chamber, in that case, would make a first evaluation and check if there are reasonable grounds to believe that a person is responsible for the most serious crimes and evaluate whether he or she can appear freely or should first be arrested. The ICC relies on states' cooperation in many fields, such as allowing investigation missions and facilitating the protection of witnesses and the contact with victims. Also, as the ICC does not have a police force or army, It does not arrest the suspects itself, it relies on states to do so. Sometimes the arrest warrants are pending for many years, but they are valid for life. Unless judges decide otherwise, once an arrest is made, the suspect is transferred to the ICC detention center in The Hague, where all measures are taken to ensure his or her safety. Then the ICC will now move forward, going through a process of 6 steps. First, appearance, confirmation of charges, the trial, appeals, serving the sentence, and reparations. During all of these phases, the ICC ensures that the rights of the accused are protected, which is essential to ensure fair and effective justice. Let us start with the first one. At the suspect's first appearance, pretrial judges confirm the suspect's identity and which language the suspect fully understands. Besides the official languages, the court often ensures interpretation in other languages as well. Actually, the court has had proceedings in Arabic, Swahili, and Lingala, amongst others. The judges make sure the suspect understands the charges. The confirmation of charges hearing normally takes place a few months after the first appearance of the suspect. In this hearing, the pre-trial judges listen to a prosecutor's arguments, but also for the first time to the defense's answer to the accusations. Very often, victims might also have their voices heard through their lawyers. This phase serves as a filter to decide which cases deserve to go to the trial phase and for which charges exactly. If one or more charges are confirmed, the case is committed to trial before a different chamber of 3 different judges. The defendant is no longer considered a suspect but the accused. On the first day of trial, the accused can make a statement of guilt or innocence throughout the trial. Evidence and counter-evidence is submitted and victims participate through their lawyer. Witnesses from both sides can amount up to various dozens in the majority of cases, and they may require important protection measures. The accused is presumed innocent, and the ICC's founding treaty guarantees the accused a large number of rights, including the right to remain silent and to be represented by a lawyer and to have time and resources for this representation. If the trial judges are not convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty, they deliver an acquittal. But if they find the accused guilty beyond reasonable doubt, they will decide on the person's sentence of imprisonment or other penalties such as fines, forfeiture of property and assets. Whether a person is found guilty or acquitted, the decision can be appealed by the prosecutor or the defense. It would then be for the appeals chamber to decide whether to confirm, amend, or reverse the trial chamber's decision. If a conviction becomes final, the convicted persons who have been sentenced to imprisonment will serve their sentence in a country that has volunteered to enforce ICC sentences. This is another way the ICC relies on cooperation from states. Also, in certain cases, victims might receive reparations if the person was found guilty. Reparations can be granted to victims. They include, for instance, monetary compensation, rehabilitation, and medical support. They may also be of a symbolic nature. Reparations may be made on an individual or collective basis and take cultural considerations into account. So who pays for it? In principle, it is the person declared guilty who has to compensate for his or her responsibility in the commission of the crimes, but in many cases the impact of the crime can be immense, and the guilty person doesn't have enough financial resources to compensate for the potentially large number of victims. This is why states have also created a trust fund for victims, financed by voluntary contributions, to assist in executing the reparations ordered by the judges. And the guilty person doesn't have enough financial resources to compensate for the potentially large number of victims. This is why states have also created a trust fund for victims, financed by voluntary contributions, to assist in executing the reparations ordered by the judges. So ultimately, what is the impact of this process? First, establishing the truth about what happened and the guilt or innocence of the accused. After fair proceedings with full respect of the defendant's rights, but equally important, giving victims' voices the possibility to be heard and recognized in a court of law so that they can express their views and concerns. The hope is that through fair and transparent proceedings, victims will feel that justice has been done for them, that society will see examples of perpetrators being held accountable, which can help prevent future crimes, and the world would become closer to being just. Anywhere in the world, the suffering of victims of war crimes, aggression, genocide, or crimes against humanity impact every one of us. That is why this cause is the cause of all humanity. Now let's about the case of former President Duterte. On the 10th of February 2025, the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC applied for an arrest warrant against Mr. Duterte for the crimes against humanity of murder, torture and rape. ICC Pre-Trial Chamber I, the chamber, assessed the material submitted by the prosecution and found reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Duterte is individually responsible as an indirect co-perpetrator for the crime against humanity of murder, allegedly committed in the Philippines between the 1st of November 2011 and the 16th of March 2019. The warrant of arrest against Mr. Duterte was issued by the chamber as secret on the 7th of March 2025 and reclassified as public on the 11th of March 2025. On the 12th of March 2025, Mr. Duterte was surrendered to the International Criminal Court after being arrested by the authorities of the Republic of the Philippines in accordance with the warrant of arrest. Duterte took place on the 14th of March 2025. Mr. Duterte appeared in the hearing via video link, as authorized by the chamber. On the 8th of September 2025, Pre-Trial Chamber I postponed the commencement of the confirmation hearing in the case, which had been initially scheduled to start on the 23rd of September 2025. Following a request from the defense of Mr. Duterte for an indefinite adjournment of the proceedings alleging that Mr. Duterte is not fit to stand trial, the majority of the chamber considered that a limited postponement of the hearing on the confirmation of charges was warranted to allow sufficient time to adjudicate the request and related matters. The chamber will, if applicable, set a specific date for the confirmation of charges hearing once it has addressed outstanding matters in the case. In a world where injustice can feel overwhelming, the ICC stands as a symbol that no one is above the law, and that the most vulnerable deserve protection. It's not perfect, but it's a vital step toward a more just global community.